Today is April 6th, 2018, and I'm here to announce the release of Empyrean First Edition, which is a new role-playing game experience. And I'm going to just talk on a couple of items as to why this is a new and unique game system and why people should check it out. So I'm going to start with showing you the physical book, what it looks like, the guidebook. Now, the cover has actually been changed slightly. You'll notice that the illustration is not full size and it's not really centered. That's actually been fixed. So the actual copy, if you order off Amazon, the actual copy you get will be slightly different, but just really on the cover. On the back, there's just a very brief explanation about why Empyrean came to be, what it's based off, the idea of a free-form RPG or open-ended role-playing game, and a little bit about me, the author. Inside, what you will find right at the very beginning is a note from me and a very simplistic map of the world. The next few pages are dedicated to explaining the world of Empyrean and giving you a bit of history, including a timeline and several pages dedicated to all of the important figures politically and socially about the people in the world who are basically running it. And then right after that, it's going to dive directly into how you go about setting up the world and creating a campaign to play. So the basic concept in the world of Empyrean, in the guidebook itself, the basic concept is to create a free-form or open-ended role-playing game experience. So, and again, this is talked about a lot in the book, and a lot more examples are given. But one of the things that is mentioned is, for instance, if you don't like a rule, you can change it. You have the ability as the narrator and as the players to change rules that you don't like and to adapt it to fit your particular play style, which makes it kind of a unique experience in that and a lot less rigid than some of the other games that are out there. So that's a big part. There's a lot of very kind of simplistic rules or generic rules, general rules that apply throughout the game and throughout narration. There's a section that gives advice to the narrators on how to be good dungeon masters or game masters or narrators, whatever you want to call them. There is a section about character growth, which is really particularly important to me because your characters already start out awesome with all of these different traits and abilities, but over time, those characters want to grow. You want to reward your players for playing their characters especially well. You want to reward creativity and reward successes. And there is no prescribed exact way how to do that. So you do not go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 and then all of a sudden unlock all of these new skills and abilities that you never had before, or get randomly assigned increases in different areas or a set pool of points to distribute however you choose. That's really unrealistic and never made sense to me as a player of various RPGs. And so instead, there is a whole section of the book that is dedicated to how you can develop characters, different ways to award growth. There are different ways to reward your players for playing their characters, again, particularly well. So if you have a character that spends a lot of time in combat, using combat skills, those are the skills that you're going to reward, right, by making them better. Conversely, if the character is playing as a Fae and they're using a lot of their magic traits, you can reward that specifically by reducing the cost, what it takes for them to use those, so that they can perform more magic more often. So that's kind of intuitive, but there's, again, a whole section that explains all the different ways that you can reward players, and it allows the game to be a lot more dynamic, and character growth, in particular, to be a lot more dynamic. And then another thing that I want to touch on, at the back of the book, there are several different character sheets that are prefabricated based on the different character classes. So for very simple play, you can simply make a copy of a page, and you have a sheet all ready to go. You just have to fill in the rest of the information for your particular character. But it has all of their starting traits already listed, which can help save a lot of time, and again, avoid a lot of confusion and allow you to jump into the game a lot faster. There's also a blank character sheet that's in there so that players and narrators can design their own characters and character classes. So if you decide, I don't really like any of these classes, or I don't really like that this particular class is missing a certain trait I think would be really important, you can mix and match and kind of create your own hybrid classes, or create totally unique classes for unique experiences and campaigns. One of the ideas in Empyrean is that in the future, people will be able to add on their own additions and thus grow the world and grow the experience, and then they can share that with other people, or of course just use it within their own circle of friends. And then the last thing I'm going to touch on is the very important quick reference section at the back of the book. It's a little difficult to see, but the last part of the book is basically an appendix, which has copies of all of the tables that are found throughout the guidebook, and they're just replaced in actually larger font than they are throughout the book, which of course it serves as a quick reference like the name suggests. And it's something for the narrator or even the players to have available to them while they're playing, so that if they have a question about something or they don't remember, what is the correct die that the person should be rolling? Like, should they be rolling a D8 for this or a D12? The game does not use a lot of dice roll, like some other RPs rely really heavily on. The game does not heavily rely on dice rolls. But there is some, particularly with combat and persuasion, which is treated as a form of social combat. And so, while there are some dice rolls, the narrator might wonder, should they really be rolling a D8 or should they be rolling a D12? I don't really remember. They can turn to the quick reference section, which is right at the back of the book, very quickly and look and see, oh, it should be a D8. Very quick way to get an answer to a question without having to flip through many, many pages and trying to find exactly what it is that they need. And that's really important for people who are playing, who are role-playing, that there's that kind of continuity. There's not a lot of long pauses while people pour through pages trying to find answers to rules and questions. So that helps the narrator to keep the story moving, to keep the action going, to keep the players engaged. And so again, it's a really helpful tool for anybody that's using this system. So again, Empyrean First Edition is now out and available on Amazon. If anybody has any questions or comments, or would like to share any other information, please share below. I'm hoping that sometime in the near future, I will be able to share a video of people actually playing. And that should be coming hopefully soon in the next several weeks or a couple of months. So look really forward to sharing that with all of you. Again, the book is Empyrean First Edition, and you can find it on my Amazon page at the link below. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.